Over the we got this disturbing news of a father who beats his child and beat his 2 month old baby with anger and broke the arm. And eventually the baby's arm had to be amputated. And it got me thinking, a father, that was inhuman, that was cruel, breaking the arm of the baby. It wasn't even enough that he broke the arm of the baby. He locked up the wife and baby in the house medical attention until the arm to get bad. And then I was talking with some members of my team at the parent, and I said, according to my coach Wendy Ologi, of the Parenting Academy, she says an intentional parent does not yell. I wanted to have my skin. Oh, I would say we shouldn't flog our children. The Bible says, flog the child, the several quotations, spare not the rod, spare the rod and spoil the child, and several quotations and several facts to make the point that you should flog children. And I say, look at it as letters. Is flogging actually that our parents did some flogging decades ago and it worked for them? Does it really mean that flogging still works? Do you know that parenting in the days of our fathers was quite easy than it is today? Not with the Gen Z teenagers. And someone saw you misbehaving, they will punish you and report it to your parents, and they punish you. But today, it won't happen because no parent will want it to be flogged. Some parents go back to the school and terrorize teachers flogging their children. So parenting has become a thing. So I say, please not to flogging. There are better ways to discipline children. There are better avenues to discipline. I was telling some parents at a seminar where I was teaching, and I told them that keeping my kids in their quiet corner is worse than flogging for them. I tell my daughter, Victory, you are confined to your quiet corner for 10 minutes. It's like that thing. Sometimes they tell them, that is punishment because my wife still flogs. So the flogging is a temporary relief, and then they continue with what they are doing. So I want us to talk about the love languages by the 5 love languages. Have you applied love languages? Have you discovered the love languages of children? When you discover the love language of the child, like one of my colleagues, my friends said that when we discussed love language and she discovered the love language of her son, that was like tuning the mumu button of her son. The child who was stubborn before started doing everything on his own will. That's what it's like. Discovering the language of your child or your spouse, like we the first time, is more like you should do everything for you to make the crush happy. You do everything for your spouse just to make the person happy. Remember those early days? I remember when I was in secondary school, I think I was in JS 3 or thereabouts. I had this girl, Toyin. I don't know where she is right now. I fell in love with Toyin. And it was more like every afternoon I look forward to break time, where we'll go to the talk shop, I buy her coated yam and drinks and all that. it was the fun sitting together and talking, just staying there. We never as much as had a hug until she left school and parted ways. But I'm just talking about when you discover the love language of someone, probably and leveraged on it. Now, one of the love language of children is there are some kids who love receiving gifts. And if your child's love language is to receive gifts and you give them more of gifts, you discover that the child begins to behave as much as you want and then do away with unwanted behaviors. Some of us don't buy gifts for our spouses. That's not enough. As little as a perfume, as little as a roll-on, as little as it could just be anything. Another love language is physical touch. Do you know what your child's love language is? My second daughter's love language is physical touch. She loves being cuddled. She's always around. When I'm in the house, she's always around. When her sisters are around me, she doesn't come close. She sits in her corner, does her thing. But once she notices that the coast is clear and I'm alone, she comes very close, sits very close to me, like her head on my neck, touching my arm. She tells me stories. It's her own love language. That's one of her love languages. But I warn against this love between fathers and mothers who are pedophiles. If your spouse has a tendency to be pedophile, please be very watchful. One person, the doors are open. But if you don't yourself and one girl, the door has to open, no hot talking, our voices must be enough for someone else. Yeah, they are my daughters, but we've seen fathers have unhealthy relationships with their daughters. It ends up in it's devil. I don't know how this thing just happened. So another love language is words of affirmation, words of positive affirmation. How often do you encourage your children? How often do you tell them what you've done is amazing? My kids don't leave the house without me affirming. I tell them how great they are, how blessed I am to have my children. How, if there is regression, I want to have them as my children again, how they are better than all their mates, how they are glorious children. Don't they do wrong? They do. But I don't leverage, I don't dwell on they build on their strengths, weaknesses. The more you talk about those good things about them, you discover that they develop those good parts. So I tell them good things. Even when I'm going through their home links or their schoolwork and I discover areas they didn't do well, I try as much as possible to correct, more areas they did well. So words of positive affirmation have a way of reinforcing the attributes and traits you want to see in your children and in your spouse. Don't always, I wonder when some parents tell their children, like, coconut head, you look like a lizard, look at your head, you're this, you're that. Why? Why would you? Okay, if your son's head looks like coconut, it means that you are the father of coconut. So your son name, your own name is Coconut. Your son or your daughter is Coconut Junior. So if you know you won't like to have such names, why would you call your children such names? There is a power in spoken words. There is power, even the Bible adds that. So mind, there is power. There is the mind what you tell your children, mind you tell yourself at every point in time. Ensure that you use words of affirmation. My third daughter, her one of her love languages is words of affirmation. Just yesterday, she came tops in the spelling bee competition in the whole of Lagos State, and she'll be representing the state at the national election. I had to take out time to call her and praise her and tell her how great she is, how I knew she was going to beat every person to be the best in the whole of Lagos State. Now that's going to go deep down in her to encourage her to do more. So after telling her that, I now told her, you know, to face the whole country, so you are going to study more, you're going to read bigger words, learn bigger words, and words of affirmation. Another language is acts of service. Some children's love language is acts of service. Like my second daughter has is acts of service. There are some things she doesn't like doing naturally at home, like some chores. When she's doing some chores, sometimes she gets into their room and she begins to cry. Just sits down at the corner crying. And the dog is looking at her. So some of those times, what I do, I go somewhere and I watch. Once I notice she's in that mood, I jump out from wherever I am and I'm like, what is it? I'm like, okay, what are you doing? You want to sweep or something? And then I help her do the chore. We do the chore together, and when we are done doing the chore, I give her high five, and then she gives me that warm smile. There's this deep warmth that radiates from deep down inside her that makes you understand that she's happy. So if your child's love language is acts of service, you try and leverage on it. I also help them to do, apart from doing household, wash cars together, we go to the market together, we cook together. Now, the next love language, probably the last I'll talk about, is quality time. How often do you spend quality time with your spouse, with your children? I make it a point of duty to spend quality time with my family. It's not just enough to be with your family, but it is enough to make that time worth it. You might just be there watching TV, pressing your phone all the time. Some parents carry work back home. You are not spending quality time with the children. What do they make after that time with them? So I try as much as possible. We do games together, we play together, we go hanging out together, we do homework together, we cook together. I read stories to them. I tell them how it was going on, and then they ask me questions. That's what time is all about. You do such things, you create time bonding with your children, with your spouse. Now, having discovered the love languages of your children or your spouse, you can leverage on it to discipline your children. My first daughter loves me being around her quality time. She's in school. This is going to have their open day in a week's time. And I told her I was not going to come. And she was crying. And just to make her happy, I said, okay, that will be there. She was, I know she loves quality time. She loves being with me. And then she doesn't do anything wrong. If I notice her going the other way, I will simply tell her, Victory, remember, if you do this, I'm not going to visit you in school. I'm not going to do this for you. Now that's my only of imbalance. So when you love with the child, you use that to discipline the child instead of flogging the child. Flogging for me is against their fundamental human rights. They're not like you. So instead of flogging the child, why don't you discover the love language of the child and then leverage on it and then to get what you want? I have my children do chores that they would naturally, ordinarily not do because I understand their love language. I could tell them, I'm not going to buy you the teddy bear or the saxophone, I promise you, because of this. And because I'm leveraging on her love language, she ordinarily navigates to do what I want her to do. So I'm going to stop here. Remember to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, also on WhatsApp. And if you not read my latest book, Engaged with a Teenager, I encourage you to do well, to place an order for the book. It's also on Amazon. We are coming up on Okada Books. You could get an e-copy from me also. If you read that book, it's going to help you to know how to bond effectively with your children, and you will not have issues. Thank you again. I remain Coach till I next time. Hello, Officer Richard.
Hello, boss.
Yeah, I stopped the recording. Okay, you want to come? I stopped the recording. How far?